Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Rachel Rocks. I'm Rachel Schur, your host, and I'm here to educate, motivate, and inspire you. And I welcome you back after the holidays. I hope everyone has had a magical holiday season, whether you're celebrating Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever it is that you believe in. Hopefully you had a great one. I know I had a couple steps in the road. Crazy things going on. Lost my tooth. Nothing's better than losing a tooth right before Christmas. It made me want to sing that song. All I want are my two front teeth. All I want is my one front tooth. But enough of that. I wanted to kind of share a story with you. So I like to think of myself as a bit of a writer. I love to write, okay? And when I was in 6th grade, I used to write all the time. So much, actually, even before then, I used to write all the time. Ask my mom. I was always creating creatures with my stuffed animals and doing little voices, and they were all talking to each other, and that was my thing, like creating voices and creating adventures and doing all kinds of fun stuff as a child. And I've never lost that sense and that love of things that are mystical and creative and different. And I'm actually going to show you. When I was in 6th grade, I used to write books. I used to write books for a young author club I was a part of in school at Sherman Oaks Elementary School, and we used to write books and learn how to bind them. So this was like our cool old school binding, which was like cardboard and contact paper and staples. Really, really simple, like anybody could do it, right? And so I wrote a couple books, and then I'd go and I'd read them to the different classrooms at the school, mainly the first and kindergarten, first grade kindergarten. But this was like one of my favorite ones, Earth Animals for the Rescue. I wrote it and illustrated it myself, and I had all my favorite fabulous stuff. And here's something funny. I dedicate this book to Room 27, Room 12, Room 14, and my buddy Laura Davies. Laura Davies was my friend from 6th grade who used to live in California and then moved back to London. And she is probably going to see this on Facebook when I post it and be like, oh my gosh, I remember when you wrote that when you were in 6th grade. But I have this whole meet the characters, so I illustrated it. I have Dino Mutt, and I have Micro Mouse, and I had all these characters in these books. And I used to read these at the school, and I used to read them to all the kids, okay? And so ever since I was a little kid, I used to write stories and books, and I wanted to publish them. So I don't remember when it was, maybe like 8th or 9th grade or something like that. I looked into publishing companies and trying to find a publisher to publish my books, because in my mind I was like, these are the best books ever, they have to be published and they have to be out there. And they were never published, okay? But that doesn't mean the dream is not still alive to publish something. So when I got cancer, okay, that was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, December 11th, 2006, 10 years ago, diagnosed with terminal leukemia. I went from writing mystical fairy tale stories about fairies in a garden and the magical trips that they took to writing about cancer. My life was surrounded by cancer and people I was meeting that had cancer, and I lost that love for writing those mystical, magical stories because I was so focused on writing about cancer and everything that I was going through, so much that I started writing blogs and doing all that kind of thing, to kind of embrace the fact that I had cancer, but finding ways that I could help other people who had cancer, right? So I went through that whole entire thing, and now I've been in remission for 8 years, which is amazing, amazing, fabulous. And I'm still helping a lot of people with cancer, but the thing is, I always think to myself, how can I get back that love for that writing writing mystical things, like magical, mystical stories of faraway lands and all kinds of stuff that I used to love writing about. How do I get back to doing that? And part of the things that I do with my normal, regular, everyday life include drawing and art and creativity and that kind of thing. And so I'm really excited. I totally thought of something cool that I could do. Totally cool. I'm totally excited. So this year I drove across the country with my boyfriend. We drove actually around the country. It was like 10,500 miles in 41 days, and I met people who had cancer, and I met with cancer organizations and hospitals, and it was really the most remarkable journey of my entire life. And I started working on a special project, which I'm not going to mention it yet until I have it together. But I'm incorporating pieces of that journey in this project that I'm doing, and it's totally creative and so much fun and crafty and amazing, and I'm really excited. But you're probably like, okay, so what's the point of this whole entire story that you're telling us, Rachel? The point of my story is just because something happened in my life that completely changed my focus in life, okay? Like, my focus in life was to write children's books, to become a teacher, to write things like Earth Animals to the Rescue. It was all about these dreams I had as a kid, okay? And when I had cancer, I had to like switch gears and focus on how can I be healthier? How can I beat this disease? How can I help other people? I still have not lost that childhood love of writing, okay? It's just been really difficult for me to find my way back there. But in the meantime, what I do is I enjoy things that are lighthearted and fun and exciting. And so watching kids' movies from time to time, learning a brand new craft project. Like, I just learned how to work with silver metal clay, which is so exciting. And now I'm going to learn how to do glass beads, which is even more exciting, okay? And keeping myself going in all the things that I love keeps me feeling like I'm a kid. So I wanted to know, what's your passion? Did you ever have a passion as a child, something that you really wanted to do and you kind of lost touch of that? Were you ever really able to get back to that point? And if you weren't, what's really holding you back from doing that stuff? I mean, like, I tried publishing a book a couple of years ago when I first had cancer, and it was the longest thing I had ever written in my entire life. I had never written anything that long. 500 pages, okay? Somebody said to me, your story is great, your story is amazing, but not on 500 pages of it. And so I started working on it last year, making it like a more compacted story of my story. And so I'm working on publishing that as well. And so I'm working on doing a whole bunch of smaller projects that are all geared towards inspiration and motivation and helping other people, especially people like you and me who have cancer or who have dealt with cancer. And I think that's really important. It's really important for you to figure out what you're passionate about in life. And if you're passionate about drawing or you're passionate about writing, how can you incorporate that with what you're already doing? Can you create a new job for yourself that maybe you never thought about because you never thought about incorporating everything else? So for me, I volunteer with a nonprofit organization, and I've incorporated all the things that I love to do into the organization. So I love for art and creativity and music and singing and writing and all that stuff. I've put it all together and kind of mushed it into this fabulous little ball that is called UCAN. And you'll learn about UCAN more later, but for now, I just wanted to find out, what are you passionate about? What were you passionate about? What do you hope to do? And can you incorporate those things that you love in your life into the job that you have, so that it's not just a job, it's a passion and it's something that you love? Because after having had cancer, some of the biggest things I learned is if I'm not happy and I'm not excited about doing something every single day, I shouldn't be doing it. And same thing goes for you. If you're not passionate and excited about what you're doing every single day, maybe it's time for you to figure out what's really going to make you happy and find a way to do it. Just do it. Because you can. Oh, did you get my joke yet? You'll hear a lot more of that now. So I am Rachel Schur. I am with Rachel Rocks, and I'm here to motivate, inspire, and educate you. And why don't you tell me your suggestions or your ideas on how you go back to something that you love, even if you haven't done it in a long time. I would love to hear from you guys. Don't forget, I'm here to listen to you, talk to you, reach out with your comments and your questions and anything you'd like to talk about. And I will see you guys soon. Have a great new year.